Howdy everyone. In this video, you're going to learn about our wall flattening shims, giving you a solid understanding of their purpose, installation process, and multiple applications. Typically construction, getting walls plumb, flat, and square for finished surfaces is a critical first step to a quality installation. For example, the industry standard for tile installation is to have no greater deviation than 1/8 inch over 10 feet. By using our shim kit, you eliminate alternative flattening methods, all of which require additional materials, specialty tools, create an unwanted mess, and oftentimes do not achieve the accuracy of our shims. While the original intent was to use these shims to flattening walls in a shower, they can also be used in other areas of the home, such as kitchens, where flat walls greatly ease the installation of cabinetry, countertops, backsplashes, and other finished carpentry. And they can also be used as depth gauges for self-leveling compound. So here is one of our shim kits. Inside each box contains over 900 shims in 7 different thicknesses, and they're even color-coded for easy reference. Inside also comes one of our depth gauges, which we'll talk more about later. The tools you'll need to complete this job are the ones you'll already have on the job site: a caulking gun with your favorite adhesive, a vertical laser, a tape measure, and a straight edge to check your work as you go along. So the first step is to mark your studs where your fasteners are going, depending upon your manufacturer's instructions for the wall panels. We want to mark them every foot in this case. A pro tip, we're going to start at 4 1/4, which makes up for the unevenness of the floor. Using a level can speed this process by transferring the marks from the first stud onto the rest of the studs for the entire area you will be shimming. Since you've run into crooked studs on every job, it's a good idea to build a story pole to speed this process, making it more accurate, and the story pole comes in handy later when setting the panels. The next step is going to be to mark the floor for your laser. Start by designating the primary wall. Mark 4 inches off the sole plate of your primary wall. Since you're at the starting corner, mark 4 inches off the sole plate from the secondary wall, creating a crosshair reference point. To finish marking the primary wall, move to the opposite end of the primary wall and mark 4 inches from the base plate as well. To get a square corner when shimming 2 walls, line up the laser with the crosshair marked earlier and the mark on the far end of the primary wall. This will achieve a perfectly square corner for the 2 walls. When squaring up a third wall, mark 4 inches off the sole plate of the third wall along the reference line of your primary wall, creating a secondary crosshair. When you want to shim the third wall, align the lasers with the second crosshair and to the parallel line of the primary wall. Now that we have our floor marked, the next step is to find out where the wall leans out the most. With the help of our laser level and a tape measure, you can quickly check the wall to find the spot that leans towards you the most. In this example, the nail plate is bulging out the most at 3 7/8 inch, so we will use this as our starting point. Next, use the built-with foam depth gauge by placing it at the point in the wall leaning out the most. Slide the gauge so that the laser aligns with the 0 mark and tighten into position. The gauge is now set to measure the fastener locations to determine the shim size we need on each marked interval for the fasteners. The laser will shine onto your depth gauge and indicate what color shim needs to go in that particular spot to get your walls flat and plumb. Repeat this step for every fastener location on the wall. Repeat the process for the secondary wall. Keep the laser in the first position and adjust the built-with foam gauge to the setting needed for the second wall. Once all the fastener points are marked, we can move on to the fun part of adhering our shims to the wall. Just grab a tube of your favorite adhesive. We prefer to use Loctite PL3 as it provides the right consistency, hardens quickly, and is readily available. This final step is fast and easy. Grab the color shim that matches each mark and then apply a small dab of adhesive to one side of the shim. Firmly press the shim into the stud marking, making sure to flatten out the adhesive completely. If you have a helper on site, it goes extremely fast and you can call the color while they hand you a glued shim for you to slap in position. Once you have finished your shim installation, you can check your work using a level, straight edge, or the laser and depth gauge to make sure your shims are correct. Your built-with foam shims will give you a plumb, flat, and square walls, making the hanging of your tile backer board and installation of your tile much more fun, easy, and enjoyable. If you will be meeting up with existing drywall, you can just pop the screws out and shove the shims behind so you avoid the lippage. If you don't have drywall yet, simply start reducing the thickness of your shims to taper out the drywall to get that flush finish. Pro tip: when adding blocking for handicap, grab bars, or shower wands, it's a good idea to install the blocking after the shims are in place. This allows you to get full support between the blocking and the back of the wall panel. Pro tip: use your laser level when installing your wall panels to ensure they are installed level. Just place the level on the story pole to the height that matches the top of each row of panels. If your wallboard manufacturer allows, you can score the back of the wall panel and fold it to the inside corner. This trick allows you to get perfectly plumb and square corners floor to ceiling. One important thing you need to consider is to make sure you are placing your fasteners along your designated marks to ensure that the screws will hit our shims. If you miss a shim, it will cause the board to dip or protrude, defeating the purpose of the work you just accomplished. Placing extra shims at seams, at the corners of windows or niches, or plumbing fixtures will help you ensure a firm, flat wall. So you can see how easy it is to get your walls plumb, flat, and square in one easy step using built with foam shims.